Good afternoon. I am Baka Shinobi, and I am joined by Poydrak. How are you today, Poydrak?
I'm here. I think that's really the best thing I can say. It's a little bit early for everyone, but we're here. We're here for Free Enterprise. We're here for another wonderful bracket race. Let's see what happens.
Indeed. And unfortunately, we do have a match change up due to Woobear being disqualified due to an extremely egregious chat violation. It came to light after the play-in races, and the admin team decided that the best remedy was to simply rule the Woobear and Bigdunka match invalid. We don't like how this turned out, but this is unfortunately the best we're going to go, so we're going to go and be cheering on both these races, as this is still going to be an incredible race. Especially this race with a Yang start. What are you hoping to see when you see a Yang start, Poydrak?
Usually some other character that can dish out damage, because Yang doesn't bring a whole lot straight away. So yeah, just anyone that can do some sort of damage, or you can find an item to do that with.
That definitely makes a lot of sense, because agreed, Yang does not go and bring the damage. He'll bring damage later, but his elemental claws can help exploit weaknesses. His charm claws can go and hit ogre weaknesses if you're not, terribly fond of hitting things. But otherwise, yeah, he is definitely not the start you want. He's not going to go and be able to carry your overworld. You're going to need someone else to go and help out.
Yeah, the only good, sort of good thing about it is his damage does come with levels, and since you're getting him from the very start, you are going to be getting those levels at a reasonable clip.
Indeed, and he's not going to go and need too much gear, because we are on T Pro and S Pro. Gear's a bit more strict about how you're going to come across it. There are some hot spots for treasure, like the Eblin Castle, the Watery Pass, and especially that Troya Treasury, the gated one particularly. So maybe we'll go and see some extra detours out there, hoping to snipe some good items.
Yeah, I don't see them, unless the other character is someone that needs equipment. I don't think we're going to see too much in the way of those gated checks straight up. They're going to want to see who their characters are. We are limited to 7 distinct characters here, Yang just being our first of those 7. And since we're only going to have 1 copy, you're not wanting to do too much in the way of looting anyway.
Very fair, and now we get to see who is Young's partner for today. It's Palom, another character who is not incredibly successful. Excuse me, right. I think the right one and say the wrong one. So, a character who is also not incredibly good at doing damage. Alright, who do you think is going to carry the early game, Poydrak? Young or Porum?
J items.
Haha! Touche. We
Yeah,
have the option. Go ahead.
There's going to be some looting. As you said, there's not a whole lot of power here, and J items are really going to be the one thing that carries this. So there's going to be a bit of looting in some places, just to see if they can find some early items to do the damage. And yeah, from that, they'll go on from there.
Makes sense. We see our objectives are to open the pass door, clear cave magnets to required music, defeat Baigan, defeat the king of the town and summon monsters, and to burn down Mist with the package.
So required music, required package, required pass, required boss. Yeah, we've got a bit of a hunter on our hands here.
Indeed, and we see Cecil in the inn with being guarded by a Mylon. Ooh, and Invenerable finds a siren in Damsian Castle. That's definitely something he might go and be keen on using at some point.
Yeah, that's a tier 5 item. It's the upper tier that you can get in Damsian. Very lucky find there.
Agreed. And we find a Poison Claw in Rose's mother's house, which is gives +3 strength for Yang. His weapons aren't going to give much attack power, but that can still go and help push a little bit of extra damage, and a coffin in the water could be pretty helpful.
Yeah, if we find a free boss somewhere, yeah, that could come in very handy. So both of our runners have got one extremely powerful item. One's got one to extend the late game a little bit with the siren, get them some levels. One's got an easy fix.
Yeah, and Invenerable did find a dwarf drum in Damsian Castle, so maybe he's going to go and feel that that's going to be enough. And a Zeus Bridge and Antlion Cave. Both those can go and help fix damage for 1 or 2 fights.
Ogreax in Mist, so if we find a Sid or a Kane, and there was also a Dwarfax in Antlion, so if we find either of those, they're going to be set for damage late, early and late.
Yeah, neither of them are being asking for much better weapons at this point.
Yeah. So we're going in with Invenerable in Antlion straight up. I'm surprised. One of the things he's been doing recently is checking the character on Hobbs straight up. So I'm surprised he hasn't done that this time, especially with this particular start.
Maybe he's thinking, I've got a pan. Let's see if I can go and peel a Magma Key out of Antlion and just do a whole bunch of early checks right here and now. Finding Bahamut in Antlion Cave, so this is not a boss that is really going to be too concerning. It will cost him Star Veils unless Yang can pull out some damage, or a Gaia Drum, as Invenerable is just throwing that out.
I'm surprised he's using the Gaia Drum. I know Bahamut isn't really a danger with Star Veils, but he only needs to use one to finish this fight. He can save the other one for later, and use that Gaia Drum for something more important later as well.
Yeah, agreed. This is not a lot of experience, but maybe Invenerable is concerned. I want to go and get as much experience early on as possible, so let's not go and let any of it go to waste.
Early Legend Sword as well, for the reward there. We know that Cecil is in the seed. That's half an Excalibur.
Agreed. You can get the adamant the pan can be giving you the adamant, and that's going to be 3 checks once you go and hit Yang, get the item from the Sylphs, and then go back and check Sheila 1 and 2, which, not terrible odds to go and finish off that Excalibur and open up that Kokol Smith shop, which you can have another bounty of good items.
Yeah, you do need a lot of money for that particular shop, but it's definitely available for them if they find that one last key item and get underground.
Yeah, very much so. And we see that Bigdunka is doing a lot of shop checks while Invenerable finds the Mega Sisters at the waterfall. Not going to need to go and do the backwater pass today, it seems.
No, probably not. But it's not too hard a spot there. It's just fast. You wouldn't want to do it with these 2 characters anyway. There's a couple of schools of thought with the way they're taking the seed at this moment in time. Invenerable's going, I'm going to check these key item locations, early boss places, while Bigdunka's going in with the shop route.
And Golbez guarding Rydia on Hobbs. Inven pauses, thinks for a minute, and goes in. Does not go and get a knockout on Rydia early on, so he's going to lose 1 character, but a Star Veil will go and kind of solve this fight, but I'm curious how Inven's going to want to try and play this.
A Star Veil will solve this fight if the turn order comes this way, because Golbez, even though this spot isn't great on the magic attack power, it's still enough that it should one-shot any of his characters right now.
Indeed, and there goes Rydia, probably the best pick of all of them, just because Rydia's going to be incredibly slow. She starts with, 4 agility, so very hard to go and get her a return in this fight, I think.
Yeah, I'm surprised that he didn't put Yang in the top slot and have Rydia start in the middle to take advantage of that, to get that Star Veil off before anything else happened.
Yeah, maybe he's counting on Yang is faster than Golbez here, it seems. Or at least as fast and able to go and get a Star Veil off before the virus comes out, and then Yang is... We're just going to go and reflecting spells back at Golbez. Yang's going to go throw some punches, and we'll see this Golbez go down, but at the cost of 2 Star Veils.
Yeah. So he's kept... He saved the Star Veils from really being used in the Bahamut area, in the Bahamut fight, but he's used them up now. I think he'll say this is the better trade.
Can't disagree. Getting a character on these flag sets is really important, and Rydia might not always be the best character, but there are Sylph summons usually around somewhere in the seed. And getting one of those for Rydia could be incredibly helpful against a number of rude bosses. And we do get that free summon from the other side of Hob should Inven choose to go and check that.
Yeah, I think he's going to go and check that now. Yeah, straight up. Sylph, yes, it is available, but it is only available in a gated shop. So you'd need to be underground or have Baron Key or the hook out open to you. Titan isn't too bad of a find, though.
Indeed, it is not. And to answer a question from chat, was Starveil Shop found, or were those from the starter pack? Starveils were from the starter kit. That is a flag that Horde added with 4.0, which gives the runners a little bit of something to start with. Some life potions, some cure potions, and some Starveils usually. It's very good for going and keeping the early game from being, alright, I need to go and check every single shop until I go and find Starveils, life potions, cure potions, etc. And help speed up the early game a little bit, which I think everyone appreciates, as shop checks are not exactly the most exciting parts of these seeds.
Yeah, you can start with up to 5 Starveils in the basic starter kit that we give them. Today, they started with 2, and Invenerable has now used them both, so if he finds anyone else needing one, he's going to have to buy them.
Indeed, and I didn't see, did Bigdunka also manage to get through that Golbez fight?
No, he did not. He reset out.
I don't blame him, because it is Rydia, it is early, and Rydia without a summon is not going to be very helpful, but we did find out that West Hob summon is Titan. It is a very big mana draw for Rydia at this point in time, but it can go and be a bit of damage, which you're probably going to need the seed.
Yeah, it also takes a moderate age to cast, so with Rydia's low hit point total and likely low defenses right now, it's not the best option.
True, and Inven going, instead of to Fabul, going into Hobbs and going into the Chocobo Forest to loot the... So if anyone was ever curious, there is in fact a item in every single Chocobo Forest. In the vanilla game, it's always a carrot or a Geisel green, depending on translation.
I think that pan that he's got in his inventory is making him stay away from Fabul right now. He's seen Ian Cecil, an early Ordeals play, get that Cecil as a paladin when he picks him up, could be on the tables for what he's thinking.
Yeah, and he's going giving Porum an archer bow with charm arrows. Those are the third best arrows you can buy from a shop, and well, they're also just the third best arrow in the game. But they're definitely not weak weapons. But the archer bow is low accuracy. Putting him in the Porum in the middle will definitely go and let Porum hit a bit more often. Meanwhile, we see that Bigdunka did choose to use one of his Starveils to get through that Bahamut fight, getting his Legend Sword now. So interesting divergence for our runners at the moment. Yeah,
the only issue I see for Invenerable here is that this spot has around 3,000 hit points. He is breaking out the Siren for this, so hoping to get a few levels on Rydia or Hallam to get that Titan, because there's still no real damage output here.
Very fair. There is definitely not a lot of damage coming out here. And the Lilith's going and just really beating up Rydia very, very roughly.
Yeah, and Rydia is the one he's wanting the experience on most of all at this moment in time. She's the one that's going to be carrying this with Titan. And once she gets 40 MP, which she should do with those 11 levels, that's his way of doing it.
Yeah, up to 74 MP, so she can cast Titan once. And giving Rydia the defensive gear that Yang had, as well, again, she's not really going to be surviving that well.
Well, we'll see what happens. And Bigdunka had Yang down at the end of the Bahamut fight and gone straight into the Golbez fight again. with 2 characters now, the Dark Dragon won't actually kill any of his characters, so he might be able to pick up a Starvel, his last Starvel bit quicker here.
Yeah, and Inven finds Valvalis at the Mylon 1 spot, but Inven has been very dedicated to researching which spots Valvalis gets full magic immunity to while spinning, which one she doesn't, and this is one he knows does not give full magic immunity, so he can go and throw out spells and do some damage, like with that Thor Rage.
Yeah, this spot doesn't have too much in the way of attack power either, so although Valvalis is going to put you down to single-digit HP with those weeks, she's not likely going to be able to follow it up unless you're on 1 to maybe 3, or for Yang, 1 to 8 hit points.
And Inven busting out the Ether ones to top off Rydia's mana so she can go and cast another Titan. This only has a few thousand HP, so you'll be able to get through this, just need to go and get enough MP back and cast it enough times.
Yeah, also need to be very careful of those rays. Although it's gradual petrification is based on your vitality stat. The higher your vitality stat, the slower it progresses. There's not really much vitality on any of these characters right now, so it's going to progress fairly quickly.
Yeah, there's a good risk that Rydia is going to go and be petrified if this fight doesn't end now, which it does. So Invenerable is through and does get a few more levels on Rydia, which he might go back and use another 10, because that's probably enough to get her back up to 80 MP, which will be very helpful for this next fight.
Yeah, you gain 100 MP from a tent, so that's going to be easily enough. And to answer in chat, no, Valvalis cannot be gating underground access, so Invenerable does know that this is not the way to that. However, it could still be holding in the hook or the magma key if the other is available on the overworld. And wow, nope deals today.
Well, we have seen all 3 bosses who cannot gate the underworld. We have seen Golbez, we have seen Valvalis, and we just saw Snack Attack Wyvern. As in that spot without a Starveil, you're just a snack.
Yeah, the good thing about that particular spot is, although it's a back attack, Wyvern has been given an added weight command at the very start of that fight, so you won't be hit out with a full-on Mega Nuke without response from yourself. So if you can find a Starveil, he's likely going to be able to get that off immediately and reflect that Mega Nuke back onto Wyvern.
Yep, just needs to find them, which finds mute arrows and ice arrows and not much else in the armor shop, but we do have him going into Fabul to do this check. He's probably going to go and check the item shop on his way out after he loots Fabul and gets a bit more money.
Yeah, he hasn't actually done too much in the way of shopping right now. He's got that still ahead of Bigdunka, but Bigdunka's sort of already through Fabul. Oh, he's already through the same bosses that Invenerable has done. Except for Valvalis on Ordeals, which he'll likely be going to at some point very soon.
Yeah, and then did go and lose a fair amount of time having to go up Ordeals and then come straight back down after just not having enough Starveils. It is kind of unlucky to go and see 2 bosses on the overworld that almost absolutely require having Starveils. So, actually, technically 3 if you want to go and count Bahamut. This overworld really wants you to go and use Starveils.
It does, definitely.
Answer a question from chat. Haven't been watching the Fabul Gauntlet. Do they have to do 1 through 5 before beating the game? That is correct. And this flags that the way you get your crystal is by completing all 5 objectives. They are set to be random each seed, and they pull from a list that has been created by Boardface. So for this seed, we have to go and unlock the past door in Troya, which Bigdunka has the pass for and can go and do, but may opt to wait on until he's either going to fight Zeromus, or know he's going to be going up to the moon and not need to come back down from the moon until not even need to come back down at all, as he could go and get his crystal up there and go straight to Zeromus.
And I do want to be corrected, Gekko, you are correct. Bigdunka still actually hasn't done Unhob, so doesn't have that Rydia in the party, so is running a man shy.
That could be a pretty big difference, as Rydia is Invenerable's damage at the moment. Bigdunka is probably going to see this Valvalis and just nope out of it, because don't know how well Bigdunka has been studying the information about Valvalis' immunities, but he's going to have a hard time going and hitting Valvalis here, as when Golbez is spinning, she also gains 5 physical attack multipliers, which means that you realistically need to go and have very high accuracy and probably more than 6 accuracy multipliers to go and start doing damage to her.
Yeah, and he's trying to hit with this. He's going to see that he won't be able to, and is likely going to be resetting back down very, very soon. Invenerable is likely going to be heading to Baron next to see if he can pick up Dark Knight Cecil, and still on the hunt for those Star Veils.
If you full loose Mist, you will go and see that Ograx in here, which he is a very big fan of. That is probably one of his favorite weapons over the overworlds.
There he is. He's probably got a smile on his face now.
Meanwhile, Bigdunka does go and find Star Veils. They are in Mysidia, unless I'm mistaken.
Fairly good little find there, considering how much we're needing them. After we got through Ordeals, though, there's not going to be too much use, apart from later on into the game with maybe a Zeromus fight and possibly a Sura.
And there's also elements you might want to go and use it for if you want to try and do a reflect kill, but agreed, there's not too many bosses after the ones we've already seen that you'll need Star Veils for. And Invenerable finding CPU at Mist Cave and resetting immediately out.
Well, I suppose you could go in the other end if you want the chest in there, but I don't think he was really looking for anything except Baigan with that check.
Or D-Mist, because we still have a key item attached to defeating D-Mist. Once you go and defeat D-Mist, you can go return to Mist and find Rydia's mother waiting there with an item for you.
No, you don't want to go find that. It never has value on it. I think the silence says that all.
Not like I haven't had seeds where my last important key item was on a D-Mist who was hiding out in the far reaches of the seed. No, that's never happened.
So, we now know what our variant of Mylon is in the Baron Inn. It's the easier version, although both of them are fairly simple in relative terms.
This violin is certainly going and doing a number on Bigdunka, unfortunately, as the lit ones here are not doing completely trivial damage, and Bigdunka doesn't quite have the same levels that Invenerable does.
No, that little bit of an extra grind on Ordeals with that one Siren to face the 2 Liliths worked out very well for him. And plus, using that firebomb, simple.
Yeah, it's only 400 HP in that spot, but those Baron guards have some fair amount of HP, or magic power, excuse me, because they use statuses, and to make sure those statuses land, they give these enemies a lot of magic power.
Yeah, and I'm not going to call Odin a free boss all the time, but today, with Young, with his Thunderclaw, we've got him in a fairly free location. He's going to hit hard, but that's about all.
Yeah, this is Young's time to shine, as he's got the Thunderclaw. He's going to do quadruple damage to Odin, and Odin goes down.
I don't think Bigdunka's going to get through this because, as we said, he hits hard, and you need to get through 3 hits here.
Yeah, he's
And
going to... Ooh.
Magma Key is the reward, so this is sort of required for them.
Yeah, that's this is going to be a bit rough for Bigdunka, not having the levels, not having the extra warm body, to be incredibly honest here, is definitely going in not helping Bigdunka.
Yeah. I think he's going to need to follow the same thing that Invenerable did. I don't know if he's going to have it in his mind, but he definitely needs a couple of levels. No point wasting on that Siren if it helps you get through this early game. You can do the rest of your grind later.
Yeah, or at the very least, you can just grab some Cure 2 potions and go up Ordeals and just throw them at enemies, because great thing about undead enemies, they go and die to Cure 2 potions.
Yeah, turning on encounters is an option in this, since, well, it's there. It's a tool. Use it.
Indeed, that's like, if you need that power, you need that power. Go and get it. Don't be shy about taking it. But going for Riddy instead, which maybe he's going to go and pick Riddy up and then grind. We'll see how this goes, as he now needs to go and get a character knocked out before we can really start the fight proper. But looks like Young's gained a fair bit of agility and is a fair bit faster than Golbez at this point.
Yeah, you really want that Riddy in the middle for this, because if you get that Star Veil off immediately, Golbez is going to be a little bit quicker. You're not going to have it drop off likely, and in that short amount of time, and you'll be able to finish the rest of the fight up with the reflex and the punches from Yang.
Yeah, Star Veils do last 50 turns, which I guess it's 50 ATB ticks as well. That's very wildly depending on who your how fast your middle character is, because of how agility anchoring works.
Yeah, Riddy, as we've stated, has 4 to start off with. I believe this spot doesn't have too much more, around about 7, so it'll be around about at relative agility 3, I would say. I'm just spitballing in numbers here, which I think is right. So you're still going to have something like 15 ticks for the Star Veil will wear off.
Oof, but Porum queuing up a Star Veil, but not able to get it off before Golbez, and that is just eating up into Bigdunka's time. Bigdunka may want to just simply punch the new Rydias to guarantee that Yang and Porum go and stay up, so one of them is able to get a Star Veil off.
Invenerable has hit Yang with the pan now, and is heading down into Feymarsh, likely going to go check the free item here and who the bosses are, and before heading back up to Sheila to see what the items from her are.
Agreed, that is a very sensible check. They're your freebies. You can go and see which bosses are down in Feymarsh. Invenerable's unlikely to go and fight any of them, as they are... Well, those bosses are about the level of difficulty as moon bosses, so you really don't want to go and do them unless you kind of have to. But going and sneaking around here...
Yeah, or unless it's King Queen Evelyn.
That's true. We still have plenty of free bosses. We haven't seen the Baron Guards, the Kaipo Guards, Water Hag, King Queen Evelyn, as you mentioned. Bahamut is probably the most free boss we've seen.
Yeah, Mylon technically is as well, although it was doing a little bit of damage. It's still a fairly low hit point spot, so that's what's usually free.
Very true. And we see a blue robe and a Rubicant in Feymarsh. What that means is it's either Water Hag or Gauntlet at the King of Summon Monsters spot, and either Elements or Rubicant at the Queen of Summon Monsters spot.
So we know nothing. We know about as much as we did before. Not much.
We know that we're going to see one of the blue robes, and we're going to be very curious as to which one it is.
Well, we know who the chatter wants in there.
Oh, we all know who everyone wants. Well, everyone except the runners wants. We want the alt gauntlet because it's funny. And Bigdunka is being very determined to get through this Golbez fight. Definitely going and hitting this as he wants to get his ready. He wants to go and build up this team, and this Golbez is being very rude. He has reorganized so that Porm's in the middle, so Yang is easier for him to get the early turn before Golbez. So.
He's waiting though. I shouldn't be doing that. I think he should just be throwing that Starvo up preemptively and just going from that. Invenerable is checking who our required bosses, and yes, chat, you can have your cake and you can eat it as well. It's the Gauntlet.
Yay! It's the Gauntlet, the alt Gauntlet even, because a new flag with 4.0, we can go and instead of having just the vanilla fight of the Baron soldiers assaulting Fabul Castle, we can have random encounters from anywhere in the seat. Well, not anywhere in the seat, anywhere around the surrounding area. And we also find out that it is Rubicant in the Queen Eblin spot. So Iceclaw Young is going to be an asset there, as, well, he does counter with fire too if you go and attack him, but if he uses power, he just simply goes and says, well, I guess that doesn't count.
Yeah, and the good thing about now all Gauntlet, outside of our enjoyment, is that generally in the spots where you face it, there are more leveling possibilities because it usually gives more experience out. I don't think that's really going to be playing into this for too much unless it's required. There are clappers in that, so we could be seeing the elusive clapper grind. I don't think we're going to though.
No, I don't think our Famewitch bosses, while mean, are not incredibly rude. They seem quite manageable, to be entirely honest. So we'll I think we're gonna go and see our runners be able to get through that without too much trouble.
Yeah.
Invenerable is checking his pan.
Pan is the obvious choice at the moment. It is free. Might get something decent for the upcoming Paladin Cecil, because I think that Ordeals is going to be his next play after that. Crystal Gauntlet isn't the thing you're wanting, but that Darkness Crystal is a bit of a different matter.
It's like Sheila had a crystal and she had a gauntlet, so she had to go and suck all the darkness out of the gauntlet into a crystal, so that it'll be a dark crystal that Cecil will have equipment for when he's no longer dark himself. Or, we'll just simply go and have that for if we need it. But that is a big character check. Invenerable putting it off the moment, but he did pick up a curse ring in Feymarch, and he is reasonably leveled and has Star Veils now, so he's probably going to go and be very interested in getting his Cecil up to Paladin, going up to the moon, seeing if it's a character that he can pick up there, and maybe seeing if he can steal some experience somewhere.
Yeah, I think he's also seeing and that this is a majority Earth seed as well, so Moon may not be required.
True, we're looking for two key items and a boss at the moment. We need to find Baigan, and you could go and choose to run around the moon and say, are you Baigan? No. Are you Baigan? No. Are you Baigan? No. Are you Baigan? Or you can go and pick up key items to see if he shows up somewhere along the way you need to do anyways.
Yeah. I think he's more most likely going, if he does go to the moon, check the character, and then if it's a character that can learn weak, he will be going to go and do a grind immediately. After that, he'll have a white mage, he'll have Rydia, who can get up to nuke levels. He'll have two very good attackers with Yang and Cecil, and that last weak character, it's either Fu or Teller. They're both good in their own ways.
And he does have some ether potions, so he can go and make a bit of a sustained grind. And Bigdunka has gone and completed Hobbs, has picked up Rydia, and has learned Titan on her. But he unfortunately has not gotten her any levels, so he is not quite able to go and cast that Titan yet.
No, but his Yang is a little bit quicker because of where Purim is at the moment. Not too much, so this Odin fight might be a little bit easier for him.
At the very least, Rudy will be able to throw out some lit ones if she gets a turn before he goes down. And Invenerable finding the rat tail on Mount Ordeals, and the bonus round, the Mist Dragon. This is another spot check. This will go and open up another key item for Invenerable, and that's really good for him.
Yeah, this Ordeals has been both rude with the two bosses that were up there, and rewarding.
It is definitely trying to go and make you think, no, you don't want to go here. There's nothing good. There's nothing that could possibly be that good here. And then you get double mystery rewards.
Yeah. Paladin Cecil, Mist Dragon, Rat Tail, those are 3 things that you really want. Sure, we need a hook for the Rat Tail, but what's to stop Neridia's mother after this check being the hook?
That would be a rather amusing free pickup. And if that Mist Dragon or the Rat Tail gives an adamant, that is Cecil's going to be very juicy.
Yeah. Invenerable's happy that he's got an Ogre X for Cecil. If he gets an Excalibur, all bets are off.
Yeah, I think if he gets an Excalibur and someone who can do slingshots, he's going to go and slingshot Cecil beyond the moon.
Well, yeah. Rydia to get up to Nuke at this point is going to take a whole lot of D machine grind. And if you do that with a level 1 Cecil, Cecil's going to be around level 70.
But Inven turning in his Darkness Crystal first, not going and checking D-Mist yet. I wonder if that's just priorities or how.
I think he's going to get this cutscene because he's going to go there anyway. He's going to go and do D-Mist, then he's going to come back and go up.
Maybe he'll save here to go and reset out if D-Mist doesn't have anything he's particularly interested. Yeah, I can see that.
Bigdunka with his Magma Key is heading underground now. Likely going to go and do that pan check. Find his Darkness Crystal, and I'm not too sure how far behind he is apart from Ordeals.
He's mostly behind looting, and Inven is not even going and checking Mist Dragon, it seems. That could be a bit of an oversight for Invenerable, as there are 2 key items he's required to get in order to complete the seed, and if he forgets for too long, he may start hunting for things he doesn't need.
He generally doesn't forget things, but often if this is a character that can do a D-Machine in grind, D-Machine will take a while, so there is always that possibility that you forget that one thing once.
Agreed. But here on the moon, we are finding Hallam, the good twin, the one that learns Quake and all sorts of other explodey spells. However, he does not have weak, so we cannot go and do that D-Machine grind we were talking about with him at this moment.
He doesn't really accelerate anything right now either. I've made it sort of a point that in this flag set you're looking for an acceleration tool. Right now we don't have anything, and Invenerable is going janky strats.
Invenerable is going to show off one of the things that you never really see in the vanilla game or when you have sirens. This is, as chat is calling out, the reaction grind. And how it works is you know the enemy script pretty well. Specifically, you know the grenade script very well, and you have a relative agility 1 mage in your top slot. With that mage, you go and cast Lit 1 on a grenade, and the grenade says, I need to go and do a certain thing called reaction. And what reaction does is it kills every single other enemy.
The one problem with it is it's a random encounter, which I believe you only find them in. I think it's a 2 out of 8 chance that you find a grenade. So you've got to find it first, and that can take time.
Yeah, as Invenerable is going and just hunting around for this, and he's reset and is just simply going in and clicking at the Cecil now. I'm curious what he's going to be going from here with, but this is an interesting amount of experience to be trying to get at this point.
He's still going with this. Just wanted to make sure he's not losing any characters in any turns between that, but it's risky, this.
At the very least, it's time consuming, as it is definitely not as nice as the other stuff. But we do go and get a grenade in the party. We will see if we can get this lit one off before the enemies start attacking, and we do. So this is going to be a decent chunk of experience for Invenerable.
It's around 32 to 36,000 experience, I believe.
Sounds about right to me. And 23,000.
No,
Definitely.
I'm way off.
It is no yellow dragon egg, but it is available to Invenerable, which is the big part for him, I think.
Yeah, does get Palom up to Quake, and that might be just what he was looking for. Just get Palom a little bit of magic under his belt, and yeah, he's heading back to the Earth. No point staying on the moon at this moment in time. He's likely not going to be able to beat too many of the bosses unless they're super free.
Indeed, and I need to go and double check that drop, because that looked a lot like the word Moonveil, but I want to make sure.
If that was a Moonveil, that is amazing for him. Yeah, he's got one in his inventory right now.
That is a huge pickup when you have a Paladin Cecil in your party. Moonveils, they cast not only wall on the person who uses it, it also casts the effect barrier, which functionally makes them immune to normal physical attacks. When you have Cecil who will go and protect anyone who is weak and looking a bit under the weather from normal physical attacks, you can cheese bosses.
Yeah. I think the only thing that stopped the barrier effect, and I'm not completely certain on this, is something I haven't tested or I haven't seen anyone say anything about, is if you change a character's stats, like a lot of so same with bluff. If you change someone's equipment, bluff wears off. I think barrier is the same way, but I'm not completely certain.
That sounds reasonable. And Invenerable, you were correct. He did not forget about it. He was just going and checking his character and is now coming back. And we're going to find out what Demist had. Demist had the Earth Crystal, which opens up that Troya Treasury, which on T-Pro has a 1% chance per chest to give a Tier 7 item. And in Tier 7 includes things like Crystal Swords.
Could be interesting what he finds in there. I think, yeah, he's going to be happy for that. But I think he's actually more happy that he's got 2 more character checks under his belt right now. We've still got 2 characters available in this seed. Either of those could be his acceleration, including what is found in this treasury.
I agree, but I don't know if Invenerable is going to want to be going looking for more acceleration, as he's got a pretty solid team. He's got some decent amount of levels. He can go and just start checking a very large portion of this world, and yeah, he found a lot of stabs in that treasury,
yeah.
And
2 lunar staffs, a life staff, a power robe, a strength ring, a crystal armor, which is even more defense for Cecil, or if you're covering with him. Black belt there as well. So lots of strength boosting gear and white magic gear.
Yeah, to answer a question from chat, Cecil currently has an Ogre Axe. He does not have incredibly powerful weaponry, but he's still probably going to feel pretty good about himself, as that's still some nice stuff. And giving Cecil the power shirt and some other weapon is going to be pretty helpful, I feel.
I think Rydia's been demoted to cursed ring duty.
Already has been told, congratulations, you cast Quake a few times. You've called someone who can cast Quake for us. Let's just simply cut out the middleman and bring the real source in front and center. That's your question from chat.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, the starting key item was the pan. We've had Magma Key at Baron Inn, Legend Sword at Antlion Cave, Darkness Crystal from Sheila 2, Rat Tail from Ordeals, Earth Crystal from a Demist who was found on the top of Ordeals, and a Sand Ruby that I have forgotten the location of.
I think that was from the Rat Tail chest, wasn't it?
I thought the Rat Tail chest was a ninja shirt. The Sylphs must give the Sand Ruby.
Yeah, Sylphs makes sense, yeah.
And Bigdunka is going straight into the moon.
Probably feels behind because of the amount of time he spent. But looks like he's had a change of heart.
Did realize that he was out of something and is choosing to simply walk out of here. He's going to make a save, I think. And is then going to be coming back in. He might be going and looking for Baigan, perhaps, or free bosses. We do have a number of free bosses around, so he can get something out of this. And if he pulls more experience than Invenerable did, he can go and catch up on that front.
The only free boss that's really free at his levels is definitely, I'm going to have to say, a King Queen Evelyn. I don't think anything else is really going to make it easier for him.
Yeah, unless he's found an hourglass somewhere and we find Kaipo guards, yeah, I agree. He's going to go and not really be able to do too much on this moon. But maybe he's going to go and see if he can hunt for... Maybe he's going to hunt for the Tricker fight, because the Tricker is not immune to swoon status.
Yeah, and all it does is peep at itself. Waterhag, I wouldn't actually say is free on the moon. Not with these levels. It's going to be fairly quick. It's going to hit very hard. So I don't think that's on the table.
Agreed. That's going to go, and unless you have specific agility shenanigans set up and you're more than prepared to just lose parts of your party, it's really not going to go and unfortunately work well for the team. And Invenerable finds the Evil at the Magna Sister spot and is probably not going to be incredibly concerned with this fight with the levels he has.
Palam's got Virus, Quake. Purim has Berserk for Cecil to just bash it down, and Young's got his fists, and that's all he needs.
Yeah, this wall does not seem like it's going to hold up very well.
Well, that's vanilla, but also free-ish if you had damage, which he doesn't.
Yeah, and Dark Imps is another, like, knowing Dark Imps is there could be very juicy, as that's a high experience spot. Get an Hourglass, stop those Dark Imps, and, well, if you have a Black Sword or some other way to do instant death, you might be able to go and get some swoon procs on them and get a truckload of experience, but for now, I think they're going to be a bit out of reach.
Yeah, definitely at the moment. But from the looks of it, he's just peeking bosses to know what's up here, what he can do later. This is time consuming, but information is a resource.
And he knows that Kanizo is not going to be in a place he necessarily has to go, or if he has to come here, it's going to be much later when he's much better prepared.
Yeah, at the moment, and what I'm seeing from this is avoid the Ogopogo spot unless it's absolutely necessary right now.
I definitely agree with that. Those waves are going to be coming at mighty fast, and the punches aren't going to be anything to be tickled by either, so yeah, this is definitely not something to go and really play around with here. While we see a free fight is at Baron Castle for Paladin Cecil, Karate is blocking that today.
It is in the second spot, which is easier overall. You'd rather see that fight in the first spot if you got Paladin Cecil, but he's not going to be too bothered to go over quickly into that. And Kane.
Interesting choice. Do you go and keep Yang? Do you take Kane? I don't know if we have many great weapons for Kane at the moment.
We don't have a whole lot of equipment altogether, so yeah, dropping Kane immediately. A Yang is actually going to probably do more damage if you're not going to go look for equipment too much, which I don't think Invenerable is going to from now on.
No, I think Invenerable is going to be quite happy, and the only shop I think he's going to be particularly interested in is the Coco Smith shop if he goes and gets that adamant somewhere.
Yeah, and no good spear, no good sword for him. So we haven't really seen Blizzard swords. Don't think we've even seen a flame sword, a fire sword. So we're very lacking on heavy equipment.
Yeah, very true. I think the only Kane weapon we have is the Ogre Axe Cecil's already using. And here we see Bigdunka going and using a Siren and a Coffin to pop a Yellow Dragon Egg, which will get Palom close to Quake, but not quite there.
It should. No, it's 22 levels, so he's just a little bit shy.
Yeah, I think it's about 36,000 or so to get Quake. I have to go and look at the experience required on Palom after this. But it is very close. It is the majority of the way there.
So Invenerable's reward for beating up Antlion on Tower of Zot is...
more chains, more fetch quests. Go deeper, young Inven.
The key item you never want to see.
I'm not so hard on the Luca key, as it has the distinct advantage of being able to let you see the key item before you go and actually have to commit to it, and being able to see getting the boss right there. That could be an important boss check.
There you go. There you go, Rivers. Invenerable has just done the first objective, opening the pass door. They got the pass in Fabul a long time ago.
I'm guessing Invenerable's betting that he's going to go and be able to just do whatever he needs to after he commits to the moon, because that is a little bit of time that if you use the pass, you're just losing a bit of time now, but if you're on the moon, it saves you a whole bunch.
Yeah. And straight to Dwarf, he knows what the second boss is now. He's got a fair amount of levels, so he's likely going to see what he can do with the first boss here. It's a little bit hard hitting, but he's got Cecil with fairly good defensive gear. I don't think he's in too much trouble here.
Now, when we see the first boss is the Baron Guards, which Quake is probably going to go and do a fair amount of work on, as this is 8,000 HP, and that might be able to do enough to take them down.
Wait. Guards into Yang with this team. If we substitute Tele for Rydia.
Look, it seems like people are going and taking a bit of a vacation today, but really don't want to go and separate from the normal groups. Because Baron has decided it's going to go and move to Dwarf Castle today.
It's extremely coincidental, I'm sure.
Yes, coincidence.
Palom was dead at the end of that, so isn't going to gain the lot of experience that comes out of it, which is a little bit unfortunate.
Yeah, that is...
He's going to be happy to see this.
Well... we now have eyes on all 7 characters. There's Tella. D-Machines are on the table for both our runners.
And it would be very, very surprising if they both didn't go for it immediately.
Invenerable I can see holding off because he does have some levels, and he has more checks open to him, but Bigdunka is kind of restricted on the number of checks he has. He just has that Bigdunka has to do Ordeals first before he can do his D-Machine grind.
Very true, but that D-Machine grind will also slingshot his Cecil.
Very true. If this Dwarf Castle gives an adamant, I can see being highly incentivized to do that.
Yeah. And as you said, we've seen all 7 of our characters. Bigdunka still hasn't seen the cane, but he's likely going to just say, all right, these are my characters until the rest of the game now.
Yeah, this is definitely not a team you're going to say, oh, I really wish I had something. Okay, fine. You're going to say, I really wish I had Rose instead of Porum, but that's what everyone says.
Porum at high levels is still just as good. She learns Cure 4, that's all you need.
Yeah, unfortunately, she's not very good at learning how to survive big bangs, as she doesn't quite cross over 2000 HP until a really late time.
But if you have plenty of defensive gear, which we do have actually for mages, we've got I've seen a rune ring, I've seen a wizard robe. There's a life staff in the Treasury. We can get her will up fairly well, so she's not going to be taking as much damage. It'll be a very lucky attack for actually to hit over that 1800 mark, I would say. True,
but a lucky hit is all you need sometimes to go and take you from winning a fight to losing a fight. So she's if you're going and taking Porum into the Romus fight, in my opinion, you want to go and make sure you're either not seeing a big bang, or Porum's not taking a full-powered big bang.
With this team, you can do either. Because Cecil is going to have lots of levels at this, likely going to be seeing that adamant, and at some point, so he's going to have an Excalibur, so lots of attack power. Yang with levels is going to do work. Palom is going to be able to reflect a whole load of nukes later, and Porum's going to have enough hit points to just stick around.
Yeah, I'm thinking when you have Palom, Porum, you might be able to go and get away with just out DPSing on a reflect kill, or keep your berserkers up or non-berserkers in this case, and just keep them as meat shields to keep the team alive, survive the big bangs, res up Palom, and finish on a reflect kill if you don't get better than an Ograx or Cecil.
Yeah. Invenerable is saying, I don't want to grind just yet, though. I am going to look into seeing in some of these chains.
There are 2 unknown bosses at Baron, and I don't remember the boss who gave us the pan at the start. I want to say it was Leviathan, but I am very likely wrong.
It definitely wasn't Baigan. We would have ratted on Daphus a lot more if it was Baigan.
True. Mr. Vanilla Seed Roller is on shaky ground with some of these rolls, it seems. And chat pointing out that Invenerable is at 9 key items. Pass does not count as a key item, so one more would get him up to the mystical 10, which would give him double experience. A very enviable position to be in.
That might be what he's waiting for. Doing this fairly easy check, that is elements. To get through, get this last key item here. He's also got the Luca key, which you can check later if this doesn't happen to be one.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Bigdunka is getting through that Ordeals. Wyvern got through the Valvels as well, so he's going to be catching up to Invenerable, who's going to go and find that Rat Tail and the Demist, who will give an Earth Crystal, which has some pretty nice stuff in there, so he can also just D-Machine grind, go to the moon, and if that's where everything is, he's going to have an advantage over Invenerable.
Yeah, and he does know what the bosses are up there, at least the later bosses, and he knows there's 2 very free fights. that are... They're not going to be quick, unless he gets a whole lot of levels, but they're manageable.
I believe Dark Imps are, if you don't have hourglasses, you can also use other talismans such as Size or Toad to go and make them, well, anything that's small, as in affected by Toad or Size, is 4 times weak to physical attacks, so you'll do a lot more damage if you're just going to town on them. Or you can use Tail and just cast Weak on them and do a little bit of a life 2 grind if you feel that bold.
Could very well be interesting. Oh, and we get the elusive flare.
Flare in a single target. Is this game not trying to go and make this interesting? You're supposed to go and only give flares on multi-targets and comets on single targets. Meanwhile,
Go ahead.
We see that the False King of Varen was Dark Elf, content not to go and sit in the cave of bad music, and instead choosing to go and sit in the throne of bad taste.
What's bad taste about it? There's a couple of nice banners on the wall. There's a couple of nice pillars. There's this trap just outside the door that closes the wall in on you, and you can only get away with it if you happen to have 2 twins. Oh, wait, he has them.
You see, the trap part might be in a wee bit of bad taste, as you know, you want your guest to come back eventually, not stay forever. You start running out of room that time.
Only if you don't like them.
Well, in that case, it would still be bad taste because you assume your guests you invite because you like them, not because you would like to go and see them suffer. Speaking of people we like to see suffer, give a follow to our runners. They're going and putting in Quit the Show for us, while Invenerable has found Twin Harp, and I expect he's going to be going straight there, as that is an objective. Or he is going somewhere different.
He's got 10 key items. He's going to the Giant. He's going to D-Machine Grind now.
Invenerable, you're an incredibly boring person, and you are doing such a terrible disservice to our viewers. We want music. You have to do music. Stop putting off music.
He's going to keep it off. He likes keeping his sort of viewers. We could definitely say that his viewers, since we are showing him as well, in suspense, and we hate him for it.
Very true. That D-Mist was such an extraordinary amount of teasing. Meanwhile, we see Bigdunka did a little bit of shopping and is also going to go to the Giant to do a D-Machine grind. Bigdunka is going to take a little bit longer because Invenerable with 10 key items is going to be getting double experience, while Bigdunka does not have 10 key items and will not be getting double experience. But Bigdunka might not be going for max spells on all of his characters. He might just be going for give me a really strong Cecil.
That is a perfectly viable strategy in my mind. Give me a strong Cecil. Oh, give me some decent equipment for him, which we have got. Nothing too. We haven't got amazing gear, but it's decent. Let him go ham.
Agreed. Letting Cecil go and start going to town on stuff is definitely a viable strategy.
No. Let him go ham. Put him as a pig, and then let him swing away.
I see you're a fan of the Piggy Pally.
Well, yeah, obviously. Isn't everyone?
I mean, that involves people actually being familiar with the vanilla strategies for getting through this. And Invenerable Invenerable finds Baigan here. That's a spot for Baigan to show up.
That and Bigdunka is running around. I wouldn't be surprised if he checks it before he disappears as well.
That would make a lot of sense, as you really don't want to go... If you have eyes on that spot after you go and do a big grind, that's an important thing to go and have.
Yeah. There does seem like there's a big difference here. Invenerable, he's already gone on record that he has the grind manipulation map up at every single opportunity that he's doing a seed. He's following it. Bigdunka isn't exactly following the same thing, I don't believe. So if he gets a D machine grind here, it's likely he's been quite lucky.
Yeah, this fight can be D-Machines, or it can be a Metal Horseman, which is not the fight you're looking for.
Well, we're just about to find out. The answer is... Horseman.
This is not the fight you're looking for. It is, the D-Machine manipulation chart is something that has been researched pretty well. It's a little tricky to understand sometimes, but it is a very helpful tool as we see Invenerable is set up to go and be in his fight now.
It's that the D machine grind chart. It is available within our resources, along with a lot of other things on the Discord. To be able to follow it, you sort of need to know how encounters work on this game, but it's definitely helps just find these fights quicker. As you can see, Bigdunka is taking a lot of time just going into random encounters and just hoping he finds the correct one.
Yeah, that's going to cost a fair bit, as even if he does, he can only find ones that look right, not ones he knows is right, as we saw Invenerable going and running away from a two-beamer searcher formation, which has the D machine he wants, because it also has the Horseman, and there's no way of knowing until it summons. So the question here is, how many D machines is Invenerable going to do? He needs to get 900,000 experience on Palom, or Bolt as he named him, in order to go and get Nuke. If he's going to that point, that will take about... what is this?
He's got 10 key items. I think he's got around about 100,000 already on Palom. Just guessing with his levels. So I think he's going to be doing around about 7 D machines.
Yeah, 7 life glitch D machines.
With like, yeah.
Because I was doing a little bit of math, and it's like 120,000 per 60,000 per. That's 120,000 per. Is it? I need to double check the numbers on this. Bigdunka finding the wrong encounter again.
This is also a reason why I have the grind manipulation map up for my saves. It's just such an amazing tool to have under your belt.
Yeah, that is a very, very big time save. It gives a lot of advantages. Just being able to reliably find the fight is pretty important. As we saw Invenerable earlier going and trying to find that what is the fight with a grenade, and that took him 8 encounters, I think.
Yeah, I believe the fight of the D machine grind fight with the searcher and the 2 beamers with the D machine behind the searcher is a 1 out of 8 chance.
That sounds about right, and it's easy to go and just not have things go that way.
Yeah, it's not the rarest encounter, I believe, because if you do a siren, you get something something different. But it is one of the rarer encounters.
Yes, that is a very good point. This is something that sirens will always summon the rarest encounter in a tile set or in a field, which is something that makes the Steam Machine grind special, as would be vastly preferable to just simply pop a siren to go and get one, but you can't do that. Meanwhile, Invenerable has finished his grind, and Bigdunka has found the Searcher Beamer formation again. Might be getting ready to start his.
We'll see if he's got lucky this time. Invenerable, he makes use of a whole lot of things. He's got a personal calculator for how many D machines he's needing for getting people up to Nuke. Palom currently is level 52. He's ready. Cecil is ready. Yang is ready. He's just ready to finish this seed up now.
Yeah, Invenerable does not need anything other than... Bigdunka needs a break. That's what he really needs. while Invenerable has what he needs and is ready to go and turn Baigan into confetti.
This is the correct encounter. I can say that right now because I know, because the amount of steps he did is conductive to what is normal. So I do believe this is the correct encounter.
That is making a lot of sense. And Invenerable, realizing that he forgot an important thing, he took off his curse ring for his grind fight. He put it back on because he still wants to go and fight Baigan. To answer a question from chat, I expect we're going to go and see Invenerable open up on Baigan with Quake, because those arms punch and they kind of hurt, and you don't want them to keep punching your mages. I think you're going to focus on having your melee fighters do damage to the main body, while Palom's job is going to be to just simply go and do a lot of damage. And Porum using the Moonveil on this fight, that is rather bold.
Not really as much as you might think. Cecil and Yang have plenty of hit points on them to survive these punches. They're going to be a bit hard, but they're not too bad in this spot. Palom, if Palom goes down, is just going to raise them and let Cecil cover. Porum is your healer here. If you can get her staying up to just top off the two boys in the front, they've got free reign to just do their hits.
Makes sense to me.
Bigdunka's now in full flow. I'm pretty sure he's happy to see that, and as you said, he hasn't had a break. He's had a tough time with a lot of things. Golbez, Ordeals he had to nope out of. Now this SD machine grind, and he's probably feeling a little bit behind.
I don't blame him. This has definitely not been a super smooth seed for Bigdunka, but Invenerable showing off a little bit of interesting strategy, making very good use of that Moonveil of, I don't just want barrier status, I want the wall as well, so I can go and reflect nukes off of my Porum onto Baigan and see if we can hit this main body.
Yeah, a lot easier if there's only that one part of him still alive, but I'm pretty sure you're not going to discount a nuke to one of the arms when they have around about 8,000 life themselves.
Yeah, that's one less target to go and be something for your Zerkers to go and hit. And here comes the Quakes out again as, yeah, we want those arms down. They're kind of annoying.
The back one isn't really too much of a problem because it's in the back row, and the worst it's going to do at the moment is, well, punch, which is affected by the back row penalties. So you're not really too worried about that. It's the front arm, which is, I think, more dangerous.
Yeah, that one casts Entangle, which is paralyzed on a character for some duration of time, and that's really obnoxious.
Even getting the whites out. Who says Porum can't do meaningful damage?
I mean, you can qualify that statement as Porum Swallow level 52 can't do meaningful damage, and I would be hard-pressed to find anything that's wrong with that statement.
We've seen Porum carry early games with bows, arrows, and an early Harrowing Robe.
Okay, there's meaningful damage, and then there's damage born from desperation. But yes, you're right. The Heroine Robe will go and give plus 15 to all of the offensive stats, but minus 15 to all casting stats. So that is definitely something that does transform Porum into the little white mage who's waiting for someone else to take damage to the little white mage who's ready to dish it out.
And Baigan is down. Invenerable is happy. I sincerely doubt that he is going to go and fight the CPU spot. I fully expect him to back out of this place now.
Yeah, I think there's he might go and I think he might go check Cave Magnus to see if that gives the package, and he might go and take care of the king spot at Land and Summon Monsters. because he is required to do that, and he might see if one of those will get from the package so he can go and be done with the seed, because that's objective number 4 complete. Baigan is down. He only needs to complete Cave Magnus, which he has the Twin Harp for, defeat the King of the Town of Summoning Monsters, which he knows is the Gauntlet, and is not going to be too much trouble at level 55. But he still needs to find the package somewhere.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. He's going to check that Twin Harp, get his objectives off the list, see if either of those give you that package, and then be done with the seed. He doesn't even need to go to the moon if that's the case anymore, apart from that one little bit he did.
Indeed. On the flip side, though, the package could still go and be hidden somewhere on the moon. Invenerable is choosing instead to go to... okay, Invenerable suffers something from... Go ahead.
He's being Invenerable. Oh, he's doing the Black Chocobo from Baron to Cave Magnus.
He suffers from... I know this weird niche thing. I will show it off at every single opportunity-itis.
Yes, it's likely a little bit quicker. By maybe 2 seconds.
Even then, the Enterprise flies faster and there's less awkward maneuvering, so there's still the argument to be made that you're losing time by going to that barren Chocobo forest to go and get this Chocobo. Yes, you do still have an Odin check at Baron, but you might not actually need to go and stay at Baron.
Yeah, that might be what he's thinking as his next play as well. I'll do the Odin check afterwards, then we'll go down and do the last bits in the underworld. But that doesn't matter a single thing right now, because we've got something else to concentrate on. And it's Bigdunka.
Exactly. He's still going and grinding. He's fighting. He's going and doing something much more interesting than Invenerable, who's just going to go and be, well, he's losing a fight. We're going to go, mourn the loss of Invenerable. He's lost his seed. Let's see how things go. Well, Bigdunka is doing a fantastic job of going and destroying these game machines.
And no, we're not going to shut up, so stop not telling us to, chat. So...
Exactly. We're supposed to go and be talking all the time. How can we not talk all the time? What could possibly be more interesting than us talking? Oh, are you suggesting that whatever random music is coming out might be?
All right, I suppose we should let them be and do that.
And we are being regaled with some Final Fantasy V music. And Paladin is going to be regaled with a nuke to the face.
Which he promptly shrugs off because this base ace has so much high magical damage, magical defense, but an axe to the face usually finishes things off.
Yeah, Paladin was just axing for more damage at that point.
It's required, but you don't really want to see that at this point in time.
If there wasn't a Tella in this seed, I would go and feel absolutely genius about how great the Mac Giant grind would be, because Zeus Gauntlets, they give a very rare bonus of extra resistance against giants. So you will have double defense against giant enemies, which Mac Giants are. Mac Giants also take quadruple damage from the Ogre Axe, which Cecil has, so that could be an effective grind if we didn't have someone who could cast Weak.
Yeah, but we've got we've already seen one jank grind. Let's not see the others going on this time. Let's see a traditional one.
Oh, fine. We'll save it for the other matches.
Well, someone's got to do it at some point. And the person who likes it the most is not in this tournament.
Look, I may or may not be incredibly biased towards a grind that let me get 4th place in Edward percent that didn't involve learning Edward strats, so... We do see Mom Bomb on the Baron throne while Bigdunka finds Baigan is getting into this fight now and will probably be getting through this fight without too much difficulty.
Yeah, he did not know Baigan was here before doing his grind, so he's going to be really happy to see this.
Yeah, and he's going and throwing up Berserks, getting his team going. His Cecil seems to be a bit higher level than Inven's is, but Inven's Young seems to be a bit higher level than Bigdunka's. Bigdunka did have the slingshot on Cecil, so that's something going for him.
Yeah, but both characters' levels are extremely high. The big downside for Bigdunka at this moment in time is that he's just so far behind. And he still hasn't been able to find really anything that matters apart from that pass.
And meanwhile, Invenerable found an Excalibur because Invenerable needed the more bonuses to keep him going. His Cecil, who is stupidly high level, is going to go and do stupidly high damage now as well.
It's just not fair. We want him with a dancing dagger throughout the entire seed. Why give him these fancy dandy knight swords or stuff like that?
Why do we not go and require the adamant to get that as well? Because really, that's just far too generous. And here, Invenerable is going down to Feymarch to go and do his required check. I assume he'll go and do the Gauntlet first because he has no escape from that. And if he doesn't get the package, he'll go and clean out Feymarch and continue clearing out this underground.
Yeah. Rubicante in the Queen spot isn't a real challenge for what he's got here. I expect both of these to be cleared out unless he finds the package at the Gauntlet.
Indeed, Invenerable, not even saving on the way down. He's just, hey, I hear you like to go and pretend to be something that's not dead. I would like to go and convince you otherwise.
Very heads-up play here. One of the encounters in this particular Gauntlet is the Arachnes, which cast Quake very quickly. He's just negated that with Float.
Yeah, fortunately they don't do an extreme amount of damage, but it's still something you can go and take up, just be a nuisance to deal with, and it does hit your entire party.
Yeah, and I believe, even though he's got a sustainable anchor in Teller, this spot is still quick enough that they will be summoned and they will cast it at pretty much every second. Yeah,
that's they're going to go and be throwing it out a lot. And hey, look, a conjurer. Let's see if they can conjure up anything. Oh, they seem to have conjured up a nuke to the face, unfortunately.
No, they didn't conjure that up. No, they just wanted to see how it felt before doing something different.
Let me go and test your magic power to see if you're really worthy of being an opponent. No, I don't think you're worthy of being an opponent. I'm just going to go away now.
I'm going to try this again, though. So do it again, and I'll see what happens. No, still not good enough. I'm just going to walk away.
One more time, for good measure.
Okay, third time's the charm.
Look, this conjurer is very curious about how evocation works.
They're always wanting to learn new things. They're always wanting to learn new spells, new things. And here's the clapper grind. Well, that last one was the clapper grind. These are just clappers.
One of those conjurers was probably the clapper grind, but the thing about the clapper grind is you don't do the clapper grind if you can avoid it. I also appreciate how we are 4 fights into this. No, we're on the 5th fight of this gauntlet, and Cecil has finally gotten the opportunity to go and switch weapons.
I'm going to blame Invenerable for that, with a hashtag in front, of course.
I mean, it is his trademark.
Bigdunka is through Baigan, though, not really too much of a challenge with the levels he's got now, so be interested to see where he heads off next. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes Moon.
I wouldn't be either. He kind of needs to go and get his key items from the Moon, but unfortunately we know that Baron Castle does have the Twin Harp, and Baron Basement has an Excalibur, so it's very good if Bigdunka chooses to check that, but he's also really needs to find package before Invenerable does.
Yeah, it's really his only chance, I think, to get back into this is to find for the package to be somewhere on the Moon, him find it very quickly, and then just just say, right, I've got that item. Let's go check a few things on the Earth after that.
Yeah, like if it's in Cave Bahamut, where Invenerable goes to the Moon and clears the lunar subterrane, Bigdunka can go and get some time back, but he's definitely going to be needing to play catch up a lot. But Bigdunka is going, and he's also finally checking his D-Mist, which will give him an Earth Crystal, which I believe that Earth Crystal gave a Luca key.
And unfortunately, the Queen of the Town of Monsters is also required, because that just gave the package.
I would say, well, Invenerable's going to feel a little silly about going and opening up that pass door so soon, but I don't think he's going to be terribly bothered.
No, he hasn't had to go to the Moon at all, except to pick up Palom and that one bit of reaction grind. He's now burned the Village Mist, and since this was the requirement, he's just about to get his crystal.
Not just burning it, mega nuking it, because there's no kill like absolute, complete, and utter overkill. But Bigdunka is going down to Fame March. He will be able to go and complete. He can go and complete these two fights, and this will give him his package. But then he still needs to go and key one on where the Baron key is going to get the Twin Harp, and needs to complete those checks before he gets his crystal. And Invenerable, I don't want to say I don't believe in Bigdunka, but I believe in Invenerable is going to have a hard time going and taking a whip to Zeromas when even his Porum has 2000 HP.
Yeah, this is really Invenerable's race to lose. The only thing is if he tries to do something really silly in the Zeromas fight, but I don't see it, because he is a racer that knows when serious matters and when play matters.
Yeah, I can see him saying, I could do this fancy, or I could just dump a truckload of damage on Zeromas and completely and utterly destroy him. Which, with an Excalibur Cecil, a high-level Yang, a Palom that knows Nuke, and a Porum that knows White, I think pretty much everything he's going to do is going to involve inflicting lots of harm on Zeromas.
Yeah.
Or,
when in doubt, apply I burn to face.
Though, yes, maybe we're not fighting Zeromas today, because we don't like to go and leave things vanilla in a randomizer, and if we can't go and add Zeromas to the boss pool, maybe we can go and give them something else.
Unless you're Daphus, of course.
Yeah, very true. Dathis is all fine and dandy with leaving things vanilla, and randomizing stuff is too much work.
Yeah. So if this is vanilla, congratulations, because I don't think it's actually possible.
If it is, Dathis is going to be the very proud owner of a seed rolling ban. Yeah. But let's get your Z flags out in chat as we find out whose butt we're kicking this afternoon.
Well, Bigdunka's finding the power of their Acnes, and yeah, they're floating as well, so you can't actually put Quake on them, I don't think.
Yes, that's a thing this game will go and do. It will go and make some enemies float when they're just kind of sitting on the ground, because they're supposed to be immune to Earth anyways. That's what the Mylan phase of Elements does.
Unless he just put Quake before, or the Arachne was summoned, which is possible. But There's neither here nor there. Zeromus fight.
Indeed, we see Tella leading off with throwing the crystal, Horum leading off with putting Berserk on Cecil. I expect Pelham's going to lead off with putting a Starbell on himself, and Yang is going to throw maybe a Silk Web if Inven even bothered to pick some up.
I believe he picked up 2.
The Lobster Party Pack. For those of you who have never played Final Fantasy I, behold the face of true terror.
The seafood party platter.
Quick, someone go and bug Demarine to show her that it actually exists.
Oh, she knows it exists. She sees it every time she plays a FF randomizer seed.
Very true. And yeah, here comes the shake coming out. We have not seen a... Yeah, there comes the Silk Web. Doesn't look like he threw a Reflect Up on Palom, so just getting ready to throw that out.
I do have one question though. In this fight, do we have to defeat them all individually?
Well, you have to make sure you're targeting the correct one, because if you don't, you're going to start missing all of your attacks. And that could go and take a little while. Also, this text is not really lining up, so maybe we're just missing a few of them.
There's a Star Belt. That took a while to come on out. Might have done a direct nuke to nerf the Big Bang first, though.
He did throw a Star Belt with Horum, so that's something we did see come out. So Invenerable's doing something a little different. Maybe he does have a Berserk on Cecil.
Did he just cast Hold?
Is he trying to go and do hybrid strats where he goes and gets a Reflect kill without... He cast Stop, didn't he? He used a Unihorn. He's going and doing Penguin Air Unihorn strats.
Okay, that's fair enough. At least it's a known strategy, not using Hold to do something way too specific.
Yeah, Hold also has poor accuracy, which makes it hard to go and use. But for anyone who is incredibly curious, what Unihorn does, it cures a not quite all of status, but a specific set of statuses. And that specific set of statuses includes Berserk. So what you do is you go and throw out Berserk early on, let your Berserker do a bunch of damage, cleanse Berserk, let your non-Berserkers and your Reflect casters go and take over the last 20,000 damage or so, and kill Zeromus without getting a refill.
Which looks like it's well in hand of going to happen.
Yeah, looks like Invenerable can't help but go and try and do a fancy Zeromus fight, not wanting to go and just dump truckloads of damage, and instead deciding that he wants to go and do a nice fancy Reflect skill, as there is Lobstermus down. He is done. Invenerable has completed the seed in 1 hour, 30 minutes. Congratulations to him, and I believe we are joined by him now. GG's, Invenerable.
Hey, thank you.
I am disappointed in you.
About my inability to count?
No, I'm just disappointed that you didn't let Bigdunka win. I was really rooting for him.
Oh, I tried to give him. I tried to double dip as many places as possible, but it just didn't work out.
I am curious. How did you feel about that Pastor bit? Did you feel really smart when you did it at the time, or did you feel a little silly when you went back the second time?
Well, I thought I had fewer key items than I did. The reason I did that specifically was the thought of initially, what if, because I didn't have Tele yet. I thought, what if I end up in a situation where my best grind option is random encounters on the moon? What if my best grind option is, just something like that? Like, what if I hit 9 key items on Earth, or 8, complete my objectives, I'm at 9 with the crystal, and then a 10th one on the moon lets me get the double XP. So it was really kind of like as soon as I entered Tower of Zod, I said to myself, I should have done that before I came in here. because of course, if I complete all the other objectives, you go ahead and you get the crystal, and it counts as towards your 10 key item count. So there was logic to it. It's just the way the seed panned out, it didn't really matter.
A very fair and thorough description for what I was just giving you a minor bit of grief for. So thank you for that. That was definitely a lot of keen insight, as this was a pretty interesting seed, all things considered. What kept you away from going to the moon for so long? I'm curious about. You did a D machine grind, you got a bunch of levels, and you're looking for a key item, but you didn't choose to go to the moon. Can you explain a bit more about that?
Yeah. I already had my 10th key item was the Twin Harp. That's an objective that also gates a potential key item. After my grind, I knew I was able to clear the King of Fame March spot, easy peasy. That can also gate a key item spot. And also I had left both Baron Basement Throne hanging, and if I do the King spot, well, the Queen spot's right next door. So I had things I already had to do anyway, and each of them, by my reckoning, had another prospective check right next to it. So I hung out on Earth. Whether I would have done, like if that ruby at Queen had come up empty, whether I would have done Keyless Tower or Sealed Cave, I can't say for sure. I would have done Sealed Cave, because you can peek that spot also without fighting the boss. I don't know if I would have committed to Keyless Tower, but I didn't have to.
I know you're a big fan of the reaction grind that you did, Ed, but it did take you a little while to get to actually find that fight. Did it feel like it was taking too long at some point?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I also realized partway through that when I'm getting the back attacks, just reset. Running away takes time. But I also knew that if I did find the one I found, the other one I don't think would have done it, but the mob I did find, I knew would slingshot Palom to Quake. And Titan is okay, but I really wanted to upgrade my black magic, and slingshotting Palom off of a reaction grind seemed right. And the best part, did y'all see that lucky Moonveil drop?
We did. We went back to go and try and double check that, and Poidrax spotted that in your inventory. We were very impressed what you're going to do. We're very curious what you're going to do with that.
Yeah, I got that. I'm like, well, okay.
Why Porum though?
Pardon?
Why use it in for Porum in the Baigan fight?
Because I knew I had so many HP on my front line that they weren't gonna need it, and basically the worst one to just get clobbered 3 times and die in that fight to me was Porum. Everyone else, like if my Zerkers are Zerking, they're doing great. Palom, I can always pick up and then queue up a spell afterwards, but getting Porum going again, if she were to take the dive, would have been really annoying with, again, having people already Zerked, having Tella as my other source of white magic. Really wanted her to just set it and forget it, not have to worry about her survival.
Yeah, that was pretty much what I thought that was going to be, but hearing it from you just confirms things, and you say it a lot better than I do.
Now, one thing I do want to complain about that seed is why is every boss that wants you to use a Star Veil just hiding out on mountains or in or Leviathan kind of also in some places merits Star Veil use, but Golbez, Wyvern, Bahamut, and we only got 2 in our starter kit today, so I'm just like, oh well.
That was interesting, but what did you think about the French vanilla dwarf castle to Baron in swap with just Rydia and Tella being swapped around?
Oh, I didn't even.
But Tella being actually there.
I didn't even realize it. I blanked on the fact that it was an even exchange. Yeah, felt real bad having to march back down Ordeals. Like, I went there instead of doing Fabul, because after getting Titan, I'm like, well, Rydia needs MP. I have a Siren. And then Ordeals was full of, this is not your way underground, Infin. We got Val. We got Wyvern. What else you got? Oh, goodness.
But it definitely had value at the end of it with getting that Cecil, the Rat-Tail, which wasn't required in the end, but also demist.
Yeah, which gave the Earth Crystal, so very, very nice Ordeals, all things said, but it still feels bad to run up there 2 times.
Yeah, no, I suppose it would be. Hey, so you're now through to the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
And you're up against Pizza 32. Pizza 34.
I mean, 32 pizzas, 34 pizzas, it's still more than I can eat. So, no, easy mistake to make.
And I know that you've been trying to keep yourself down to earth about your chances. Any difference now?
I mean, Pizza has been absolutely killing it. Amazing player. I am glad that it's going to be a best 2 of 3 scenario, so that I may be able to play a little more conservatively instead of having to excessively gamble. But Pizza's going to be there, tit for tat the entire way through a race. So I've got to cut down on any mistakes I make. Like, I thought when I was going up Ordeals, this is a bad idea without finding Star Veils for sale. It's a bad idea. And the game punished me. Luckily, not enough to really hose me. But those are the little things that I've got to tighten up considerably before going into a 2 of 3 with Pizza, or I will lose miserably. But, so many good players at this point. It has to happen to all of us but one in the end. Can't get too flustered over it.
So, really going to be any change up in your game plan of what you've been doing lately? Is just keep going?
Well, if you look at my practice last night, I'm definitely not playing like that. Like, I on practice, I've been doing a lot of cheeky little things just to see if I can make them pay off. But when you get into race mode, you really have to you have to cut away all that fat and just roll with what actually works.
That sounds incredibly fair. That's a very important thing to go and do, as you are seeing a lot of stiff competition in these bracket rounds. You see Pizza. Just as a hypothetical question, is there anyone you're more scared of facing?
I am only ever scared of the next opponent. I can't be thinking about the quarterfinals. I can't be thinking, well, no, this is the quarterfinal. Okay. I can't be thinking about the semifinals. I can't be thinking about the finals. Can't worry about that. Whoever I play then, I'll worry about that week. All I can focus on now is Pizza. And I'm making myself hungry.
Well, our job here is done. We were planning that.
I'm gonna go get a snack. You all have fun wrapping up the rest of the race. Huge shout out to y'all in the Restream team making all this possible. And thanks for all that y'all do. And GG's to Bigdunka as well.
Have a good one.
Yes, thank you for putting us such a good race, and make sure you don't bite up Arcane Shoe next week.
All right, see y'all later. GG's.
So that was Invenerable, the winner of our race today. Bigdunka, however, has been following that trail, the correct trail, and is now on his second to last objective. So he hasn't run a bad race, just been a little bit unlucky.
Yeah, he had a rough start. He had a lot of things not go his way. That Golbez fight early on just ate up a lot of time because it would just keep targeting the wrong people, keep killing people who are trying to kill Star Veils. It's easy to go and bleed a bit of time here and there when things just really don't go your way. And this is a seed that's getting done in sub probably 1 hour 50 at this rate, as Bigdunka only needs to kill this boss, go back to Troya, open the pass door, and walk to Zeromas. He has the levels, he has the power, and he definitely has the skills. He is a very good runner. Unfortunate that Invenerable was able to go and get through more things more efficiently than him, but this is still a very even race.
Yeah. It's really just come down to how that start was. It wasn't a easy start because of the starting characters. The loot exactly wasn't that great for the bosses that were accessible to our runners today. Star Veils were in shops, but you needed to get some money and know that the Star Veils were required. And just the 2 to start off with, not quite enough to just see you through it.
Yeah, and you needed a lot of them. You saw Bahamut, Golbez, Wyvern. Those Star Veils are 3,000 gold each, and when these shops are selling or only giving you half the normal value they do, where things sell for a quarter of their price instead of a half, that is a big ask to go and get that much money. And Bigdunka going and finishing off Paladin, getting the cave mag is completed, just needs to open that pass door, and he will be on his way to go and fight the lobster party platter. So, very close finish as well.
Yeah, big respect to Bigdunka for finishing this up. It's very easy for a runner to just quit out.
Yeah, that's definitely good. I'm gonna go and be curious if he wants to go and take an interview and talk, because we can definitely understand just saying, all right, look, I'm out. I'm content to be done, but this is a good race. We're seeing a lot of good runners, and if you haven't given them a follow, you should most certainly do so, as very good runners in this seed.
This is going back to just how unlucky it has been for Bigdunka. The weapon Cecil is currently throwing around is a poison axe, of all things.
Right, because he unfortunately didn't go and hit that Odin throne, and also didn't go and find out where the element was, which, as we saw in the spoiler credits, on the moon, at the Wyvern spot.
Which he didn't actually check. He checked the free down the bottom, but didn't go that far, which I don't blame him. He just wanted to just do some quick checks to see if anything was free for early experience.
Yeah, that's entirely fair, but we do see Bigdunka getting off to the moon and is going into his Zeromus fight now. Let's be ready for another good fight.
Yeah, this one's not quite as academic as Invenerable's was. I think we're just going to see similar strats, but I don't think we're going to see the unicorn. We're not going to see Cecil deal as much damage with his swings. We're probably just going to see a very standard hybrid strategy here.
That makes sense to me. Yang went and got the Zeus Gauntlet, so Yang is going to go and be throwing some very heavy punches, while Tella is going to go and be throwing support. But yeah, I expect we're going to see more just hybrid strats out of this team. Put a Starveil on Palom, let Porum go and throw some Berserks, and let the rest of the team just get going, get punching, and just blast through Zermus's HP.
Wait, did you say Tella's going to be throwing support? No, he's only going to be throwing that crystal, then he's going to be falling on the floor.
Look, I mean, the nuke might not hit him, and maybe someone needs to get healed up afterwards. Cure 4 still works on a single target. Not to mention, he can't go and cast Berserk, so that is something that will...
I don't think he has any Starveils either.
Ooh, that... I thought he bought an extra 6 after he went and... I know that he picks them up to go and do Mysidia. Oh, that was Wall hardcast on. Cecil, you're right.
Yeah. That's... no, he's got 4 Starveils there.
Not entirely certain why he chose to do that, but... Here comes the first Big Bang. Here's the fight getting started. We'll see how this goes for Bigdunka.
Well, there we saw how it went for Tella.
Look, I mean, he went and took care of all those dragons for everyone. I mean, he deserves a bit of a nap.
Nah, he should do more.
I mean, I don't disagree. I think Tella should go and be putting in all the work of the seed, because he can carry a lot of things.
He was just taking weeks, that's all.
He takes weeks when it takes others months. This is how you know how good Tella is.
That is a very quick Zeromus, though. That was 2 Big Bangs almost back to back.
Oh, I don't think Bigdunka has the cursed ring that Invenerable picked up at... Invenerable picked up that cursed ring from a shop in Feymarch. Bigdunka might not have gone and checked that.
That's true, and he's not really buffering any of his spells with attacks. He's doing power with Yang. but defending with Cecil, so Zeromus isn't exactly being slowed down a whole lot.
Yeah, that's fair. And I don't know if Bigdunka went and reduced battle speed, which is something Invenerable did. Invenerable reduces battle speed to 3, which it makes it much easier to go and have enough time to go and make your inputs.
He is keeping himself fairly topped up with hit points, so he shouldn't be in too much danger. But he's just doing this with a single cast of nuke each round. There's not really a whole lot else happening.
Yep, that's very fair. Here comes out another Cure 4, and then we're going to go and probably see Yang maybe wait to go and get the Star Bell, throw that out. Forum goes down. That is definitely not something you want to see. And then Virus comes out, which is going to take out Hallam as well. This is a little ugly for Bigdunka, and getting Hallam back up.
Might have been better to get at Forum ups for Cure 4, because that black hole was coming.
Yeah, maybe he's thinking he needs to go and get Hallam up because he's close. I haven't been close in counting damage, but he might go and be close. Not close enough here, so we're going to see how this goes. He doesn't have any heavy healing items, so he needs to get another turn on Hallam. This will go and get him closer. Forum's going to go and get her turn so she can throw to Cure 4. We haven't seen the shake yet, if I'm not mistaken, so either
we have seen the shake.
Okay, but we did get a nuke off, so that is going to go and give a bit of time. This should go and... Alright, so here's a shake.
Okay, maybe I missed. Okay.
That's Gong's going to go down with this, but that heals up a lot of them. Ooh, but not enough. That is going to not be enough to get people up, and Yang is definitely going to go down. It's going to be on Cecil to get people up and get things going again.
Yeah, a lot of downed bodies right now. And almost an instant and black hole straight after that.
Yeah, this is a little ugly for Bigdunka right now.
There's a shake.
If you can get this nuke off, you might be able to finish it, but if not, this is probably going to be a wipe. And here comes a big bang, which if it takes out Cecil, then this is going to be done. Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
There it goes.
That's a bit of an ugly fight. If you don't have your battle speed set low enough when you're doing reflex strats, you can lose turns easily on menu time, which is very easy. But Bigdunka is going straight back in.
Yeah, especially with the way he was dealing with it there. Just having the one uncaster of any spells with no one else doing anything, it just means that Zeromus has more chance to actually do actions. And it's usually one of his actions, then he waits. Another of his actions, then he waits. Then another one of his actions, then he waits. If there's no downtime between those phases of his, it's really just going to be turn after turn after turn.
Yeah, you really need to go and have your team going as taking as many turns as they can, one way or another, so that and apparently he does have a curse string, so it is just a matter of probably losing turns due to battle speed. But while we're getting back into this Zeromus fight, I do want to go and give a shout out to our restream team. We have Dathis on restreaming, Antidel on tracking, and I am joined by commentary by Poydrak. Thank you all for your help.
Here at all. You've just been imagining me, don't worry. I'm just the voice in your head.
Huh, those usually don't sound that nice. Or posh. Or really that interesting, to be honest.
Well, today's a special day. But
Good to know.
Yeah, but also I've been here with Barker hitting one of our amazing speakers as well. You can tell just by the sound of him. If you can't, well, that's your own thing.
I would try and say it was sign language, but I don't believe in having a webcam, to be honest.
And for that, we're all grateful.
Haha. Hey, I was always told I have a face for radio. But here is this setup going a bit smoother. We don't even see the shake yet before the Star Veil comes out, and I think we had a Silk Web queued up, but I might have missed, which would be a little awkward. So we're gonna have a second Silk Web come out.
Yeah, with Battle Speed 3, there are still those invulnerable turns, that invulnerable time which will cause things to miss. So this second Silk Web definitely hits, and everything should be fine from this point. Nuke going on Porum though. Ow.
You just had to jinx it.
Queuing up a life potion immediately, not even waiting for the Big Bang to finish up.
I can't entirely blame Bigdunka, as Forum's gonna really struggle to go and survive even a nerfed Big Bang at that, just because she had 300 hit points.
And she also doesn't have the same sort of equipment that Invenerable was rocking. Doesn't have that life staff. Doesn't have the doesn't have the ring thing, because Bigdunka didn't actually go and check the Treasury. For
that
this stuff.
Is also a bit of a difference. Very good point for pointing that out. Bigdunka is working off of less nice stuff than Invenerable had. That Treasury is definitely a big boon on these flag sets.
Especially when there was a power sash in there as well. That would be very nice for Yang to have. And really, Yang should be the one berserked right now rather than Cecil.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, looks like he's choosing to berserk neither of them just because he wants to make sure that he can get the reflect kill, it seems.
It's bold, but in this circumstance, I think you really should just be going about getting as many turns in and as much damage as quickly as possible.
I agree. I think the way you want to push things is to just let the don't go for the refill skip, just push out damage as fast as you can. Yang's going to be doing a lot. Cecil will be doing some respectable damage with the poison axe and levels he has. And then if you just throw in nukes all the time, you're going to go and be able to just really push extra damage, because with the refill, or with the refill skip, you need to do 61,000 damage. Without the refill, you need to do a bit over 100,000, which it sounds like a lot, but if you're missing damage from half your team and you're just relying on a few nukes every here and there, that the time it takes and the difference in strategy goes and starts showing harder, I think.
Yeah. The other alternative that he might have wanted to think about, but he's just wanted to get through this fight as quickly as possible. Not to blame him, it is a race after all, even though he knows at this stage he's lost, was to go and find some more Cure 3s and just have the boys in front throw those Cure 3s while Hallam and Porum cast Nuke and White.
Also a very valid strategy, as that will go and free up more time for your berserkers.
And it still fills actions in with those uses of the Cure 3s and the additional spell in White.
Yeah, and sitting on Yang being prepared to go and throw a life potion, but both twins staying alive, Porum, throwing out a Cure 4. And we have Cecil in the menu. I think we're going to wait for the... Okay, here comes the virus, then we're going to need to wait for a black hole to come out. And from there... looks like we're going to be going...
He's going to risk casting a spell.
and doesn't get punished because the timing was right. The virus does go and give a bit of an extra turn, so if you can get that queued up properly, you can still go and get a reflected cast off. And then here we have a Cure 4 coming out to go and heal up the team. I think we'll see someone else throw a Star Veil and try and get around to Palom one more time to get another nuke in.
Well, Cecil's turn is up, so he's going to be the one to throw the Star Veil. Yang will defend, Palom will throw the nuke. Okay. Yang doesn't even get a turn.
And that is Palom out of MP as well, so this should be pretty close to finishing because that's a 6 nuke cast it takes.
6 or 7, depending on rolls. Yeah. There we go.
There is Bigdunka. We'll see if we can get Bigdunka in for an interview shortly.
Yeah. Definitely not as smooth, but he got through it. That's all that really matters. And we have been joined by Bigdunka. Congratulations on getting through that seed. It wasn't exactly easy for you, was it?
Oh, that beginning. I couldn't lose any more coin flips if I tried.
Yeah, you had a lot of heartbreaking just, hey, I want to go and get through Golbez. All right, here's one of the important people dead, and the other one is getting hit with the first spell.
Yeah, there became a point really early on where I just didn't care, and I wanted to prove RNG.
And then he kept biting you in the backside.
Every time. I think it was 5 wipes.
I have played enough Final Fantasy XIV to know the phrase 80%, 50% means you can go and get 14, 15, 20 failures in a row. Yeah, that's a 1 in 6 million chance, but you'll probably see it anyways because RNG does not like you today.
Yeah, that was kind of the whole highlight of that seed was just RNG was not on my side for the first hour.
Yeah, and it wasn't exactly easy in other places. You needed Star Veils everywhere.
Yes. I'm glad that usually with these flags, I stop going to shops really early, and then this one I was like, yeah, I gotta go because you got to find those Star Veils somewhere.
Yeah, starting with 2 was it's a little lean, but then just finding all of the bosses that require them. When you started seeing them, at what point were you feeling a bit... how were you feeling when you kept running to those bosses that said, do you have a Star Veil?
I mean, all of those bosses in those particular spots are just horrible in the early game anyway. And what I don't remember where Star Veils were. Where were they?
They were in Miss City, I believe.
Gotcha. That sounds right. I mean, I don't know. At that point, you're just like, I'm gonna beat the game the best way that I can beat the game. Not finish the game. I want to beat the game, like down into a pulp.
I hope your cartridge is okay right now, then.
How pulped is the game, do you feel? Do you feel it's pulped enough? Or do
yeah,
you want to go back for a second
No,
go?
I'm good. You know, obviously circumstances meant that I'm kind of playing with house money here anyway. So, you know, I was happy to get my opportunity to rematch against Invenerable. We played off in round 3. And I was happy for that, but yeah, my brain was kind of checked out up until a few days ago anyway, but, you know, just, yeah, I'm not, like, horribly upset by anything that happened there. It was just a nasty start, and, again, by the end of it, I was doing things a little out of the ordinary just to do it, kind of, at that point, especially the end, not doing... you know, just your standard Zerk strats and pushing through reflect stuff. It's just kind of proving that the game that you're better than it is.
Yeah. One of the sort of out of the normal play was you went to the moon and just checked bosses.
Yeah, okay, and that was a metagame call. Because I know kind of how Invenerable plays. And I went up there to see there was maybe 1 or 2 bosses that I could probably do while I was up there based off the items that I had, if they happened to hit. And it was kind of one of those gamble metagame calls because I knew Invenerable was not going to do it at that. There was no way he was going to go up there and check Moon that early. And if you can get lucky and find, I don't know, a Luca key or a tower key or something that would work like one of those, you could get an insanely huge lead. So it was strictly a metagame call. If it wasn't for one or two bosses, I had the save on the outside. I spent a couple of minutes to look and then just reset, save, and get out.
Sounds fair. Were you considering making notes of, you did have to find that Baigan. Was that another consideration for you? Cut down on the number of extraneous checks you might have to make as you're looking around for a Baigan, but if you find nowhere, lock down his spot early, you can go and plan for it?
Yeah, I mean, that information is huge when you know that you only have one boss that you need to hunt for and it could be anywhere. I mean, that would have been great, if you know he was up there. And based off how this seed finished, my guess is Invenerable did all Earth and all Underground. And I know he said he faded Moon. He didn't even go up there, but he
lied a little bit there. He did go up to get Palom and did one reaction blind.
Okay, so he did do a little bit there, but yeah. But for the most part, yeah, it's one of those, like, if you know he's up there, let's say he's all the way at the end, he's all the way at the bottom, and it's like, that's huge information to know once you have everything else. So it was, again, mostly metagame call. Yeah, there was a little bit of information dabbled in there, but I would have easily done it again without question.
And speaking of bad luck, you couldn't find the D machines to save your life either, could you?
I'm telling you, the RNG on this one was just hideous. I know that there is manipulation for that, and I tried to learn it, like, I don't know, a year ago, and I just gave up.
Yeah, I know that, not to go and give more credit to someone who is in this race, but Invenerable does have a video up, and that definitely helped me out to learn that, as the chart's a little tricky to go and read without a little bit of just, when you go and get to this point, you get here, or after you get to this point, you go and try and count steps, and that's going to go for the other sections. It is a bit tricky to read, and I don't blame you for going saying, I hate this chart.
Yeah, more times than not, if I do if I set in encounters, do a save, do a quick reset the counter, you can usually find it within the first couple anyway. That's at least normally how it goes, except, this time it was like the 30th.
Yeah, that is incredibly fair. But with that, do you have any final thoughts on the Gauntlet, the Fabul Gauntlet as a tournament?
I mean, this is probably the cleanest ran tournament. The structure is great. Everybody that's behind the scenes doing this stuff did a phenomenal job. Very, very happy with the way this has gone, and yeah, I can't stress enough how how well structured everything is. So my hat is off.
Thank you. I am sure everyone who's worked to put on this tournament is very pleased to hear that, and we hope that everyone continues enjoying this tournament as much as you have, I feel.
Yeah, no, it's good luck to everybody that's still in there, and again, thanks for everybody for putting everything together.
You've had your chances. Today it wasn't quite your day, but very well done.
More chances than about everybody else is going to get.
Yeah, but very well done for getting into the bracket phase. That's an achievement in itself with the quality of the competition we've had in this tournament. So very well done, and I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more of you in the future.
Yeah, agreed. No, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And with that brings us to the end of our race. A fantastic match between Bigdunka and Invenerable. Invenerable is moving on to the quarterfinals. And we're going to go and be looking for more good matches. We're going to be heading over to the RPG Limit Break channel. Yes, they have another match. It is between Flurry 14 and Dark Cobalt. So if you enjoyed this match, there's going to be another one on right for you if you just choose to stay here and go to join our raid to RPG Limit Break.
Go and cheer them on. They're again another couple of fantastic runners. We've got another fantastic team giving you the commentary over there. Cheer them on. Have some fun. We'll see you again soon.
Have a great weekend.
That was awesome!
So I'm curious that